going to be launching a tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs, and we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Welcome back to Legendary Foods Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Monday, September 13th, 2021. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. After the show last Friday, someone sent me a text asking why we never lead off the show with stories from women's physique. So for the person who will remain nameless, what do you think about this brand new update from Sarah Villegas? Last week, Sarah's team released their first official update 5 weeks out from the reigning and defending Olympia champ making her first title defense. As far as her conditioning is concerned, it looks like she's right on the money again, which feels like it's par for the course with her at this point. Sarah's made a career out of being the hardest working athlete in the room, so if you're everyone else in the division who's trying to play catch up, it looks like you're going to have your work cut out for you over these next few weeks if you want to level the playing field. While I was preparing that last segment, I realized that we hadn't talked about the Fitness International much over the last few weeks, which makes this the perfect time to segue into this update from former 4-time Olympia champ Oksana Grishina. The buzz coming from Oksana's camp over the last month or so has been nothing but positive, and the general consensus seems to be that they're feeling pretty confident about where she's at this point in the process. Whenever I hear people talk about Oksana and whether or not she can beat Missy Truscott now, the one thing that everyone seems to be forgetting is that she placed second at the Olympia last year after what was essentially a 2-year layoff, which is unheard of. Pound for pound, fitness might be the hardest division to prepare for because of everything that goes into it. So now that she's been back in competition mode for the better part of the last 6 months, my guess would be that we get to see the best version of Oksana Grishina again in Columbus. And when she's at her best, she can be a handful for anyone. If you're a 212 fan, there's a lot to be excited about right now. We've got Sean Clarita gunning for his second straight title. You've got Kamal Algargni trying to win back his title. Not to mention Keon Pearson getting ready to make his Olympia debut. But here's one other name that I want you to keep your eye on as we get closer to the Olympia weekend: Tonio Burton. He earned his qualification way back at the start of the season when he won his pro debut at the Indy Pro, which was a lineup that included a handful of guys who were top 10 finishers in last year's Olympia. And according to the news coming out of his camp, Tonio's made a lot of progress since that last time we saw him back in May, which makes them feel like he has the potential to step in and be a top 5 contender from the get-go. That being said, this will easily be the biggest test of his career. But if he's as good as advertised, a top 5 finish doesn't feel like it's completely out of the question. We're closing out this show today with this new update from Patrick Moore, who's looking like he's getting ready to make some noise at the Olympia next month. The improvements that he's made over the last year are pretty dramatic if you compare some of the side-by-side images, especially from the back, where you can see that he's clearly added width, thickness, and detail all the way across the board. One of the other big things for Patrick this year has been conditioning, which is something that he seems to struggle with in the past. But now that he's cleaned up some of that stuff and made the right adjustments, I think it gives him a chance to be a real X factor this season. Because if he really nails his conditioning, I do think there's a chance that we get to see him slide into the back end of that top 10, which is definitely something he's capable of. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.